You're already inside when you realize you never checked if the front doors could lock behind you. They gape open now like broken teeth, glass long gone, metal frame hanging crooked. Wind presses in and out, carrying the smell of rust and something faintly chemical, the ghost of 100 dye vats and bleach barrels that once soaked this place in color. The old textile factory towers above the dead town like a husk of a god that nobody worships anymore. Its windows are punched out, its signage half fallen, letters missing so the company name is reduced to an accidental, meaningless word. You stand just inside the threshold, boots planted on cracked tiles you once marched past in uniform when you were younger and whole. Your cane taps against the floor, the sound travels into the empty distance and returns thinner, swallowed by cavernous hallways and dead machinery. You shouldn't be here, you know that, but there's the dog. He limped all the way from the outskirts, from the bus stop where you got off, where the asphalt gives way to broken concrete and weeds. You first noticed him sitting in the shade of a half-collapsed billboard, one leg held close, ribs faintly visible under patchy fur the color of dirty snow. He watched you step down from the bus with eyes that seemed too serious for a stray. "You lost too?" you muttered then, because talking to an animal felt safer than talking to any human left in this town. You turned away. You had a purpose after all. Old debts, old ghosts, one more place to cross off some invisible list you've been carrying in your chest for years. But when you reached the end of the cracked road, there he was again. Just behind you, paws quiet, head tilted as if he'd been following you for miles. "Go on," you told him. "There's nothing for you here." You said the same thing to yourself, but you came anyway. Now inside, you hear his claws tick hesitantly on the tiles behind you. You don't turn right away. Instead, you let the space settle around you. The air is cooler in here, the light dimmer, filtered through broken glass and torn insulation. The echoes of your own breathing sound wrong, as if this building is exhaling with you. This factory shut down the year you left for your last deployment. You read about it in a letter your father sent. "Town's dying," he wrote, ink shaky. "Factory's gone, job's gone, come home if you can. Won't be much to come back to, but we'll make do." You didn't come home, not then. You came back too late, after the funeral, after the last of your family's threads were cut and scattered. You avoided this part of town completely, like it was contagious, and yet here you are now. You finally turn. The dog stands a few feet back, shoulder dipped where the injured leg refuses to bear weight. One ear is torn, healed into a ragged edge. He watches you with that same calm intensity, as if waiting for your next order, as if he's done this with you before. You don't own a dog. You've never owned a dog. At least, you don't think you have. Memory is strange these days. Some things are sharp names, coordinates, the serial number of the rifle you carried, the exact taste of dust in a foreign desert. Other things are soft and smudged, birthdays, faces in kitchens, who like their coffee which way. But you're sure about the dog. "Keep up if you want," you say. "I'm not carrying you." He blinks once, then limps after you as you push deeper into the factory. You don't come here for nostalgia. There's nothing sentimental about the way the walls peel or the way the old machines hunch over frozen conveyor belts. There's a map in your pocket, folded so many times the lines are splitting. You keep a grip on it like you're holding a compass in hostile territory. You know the locker room is 3 corridors in, past the weaving hall. Your boots crunch on broken glass. Looms sit in long rows like skeletons of some extinct animal, belts and pulleys hanging limp. Sunlight slants through the high windows, turned golden by dust that floats in slow currents, rising and falling with your footsteps. A pigeon bursts from an overhead beam with a violent flutter of wings and you flinch, muscles reacting before your mind can remind them, "This is not that place, not that time." Your hand finds the invisible weight of a rifle that isn't there. You breathe, counting in slowly, 1, 2, 3, 4, out again. The dog edges closer, brushes your leg with his side, as if confirming you're still solid. "Easy," you murmur, though you're not sure whether you mean him or yourself. You find the corridor you want. Rust has eaten away at the signage, but you recognize the faded symbols. Locker rooms, washrooms, office. The smell changes here, from stale air and pigeon droppings to something denser, older trapped sweat, detergent, the faint trace of mildew. Tiles underfoot are cracked, grout darkened. Your cane rings once, sharply, against a loose metal washer on the floor. You remember the stories, not about the factory shutting down, about the accident before that. Before your time. Back when your father worked double shifts and came home with his clothes smelling like fabric dye and cigarettes. You remember him saying, "Some things this place swallowed." He never said what? You told yourself the stories didn't bother you. You told yourself they were just one more reason not to come back. Yet something brought you here now. The town's last old neighbor, her voice on the phone last week. There was something your father kept here. Said it was for you. Said one day you'd come looking. You'd laughed, the sound rough. He's been gone for 25 years. He said you'd come late, she replied. But you'd come. You didn't ask how she remembered that or why she waited this long to mention it. You just took the next bus. Now you stand at the entrance to the locker room. The door is half off its hinges, paint flaked away, handle red with rust. You push it, and it swings inward with a long, complaining groan that seems too loud in the silence. Lockers line the walls in tight rows, doors bent, some hanging open like yawning mouths, others still closed, numbers faded or missing entirely. Someone once layered stickers over the metal bands, sports teams, slogans. Time has picked at them, leaving only curled corners and ghost glue. The dog stays at the threshold, nose twitching. He doesn't enter. You step inside alone. The air is heavier here, stale and damp. You try not to imagine the lives that were once crammed into these thin metal boxes. Boots, lunches, tired jokes. You unfold the map. A shaky hand drew a square, marked with an old locker number. The handwriting is unmistakable. You've seen it on report card signatures, on notes left on the fridge. Your father's handwriting. Locker 108. You scan the rows, lips moving as you count. 94, 96, 100. There, 108. The door is dented but closed. The number tag is grimy but legible. You stare at it for a moment, pulse shifting in your ears, and then you tug on the handle. It doesn't move. You pull harder, metal biting into your palm. The lock has corroded, fused to the frame. Your shoulder complains as you wrench again, the echo of the effort rattling the room. For a moment you see yourself from above, a gray-haired man in a frayed jacket and worn boots, fighting with a piece of rusted metal in a building the world has already forgotten. You chuckle once, humorless. Then you set your cane aside, brace both hands, and slam your weight into the locker. The impact rings through the room like a gunshot. Dust floats down from the ceiling in thin veils. A hinge shrieks. The lock gives way with a grinding pop, and the door jerks open, bouncing off the neighboring locker and swinging back toward you. You catch it with your hand. The smell hits you first. Old paper, stale cloth, the faint sourness of something organic that long ago dried and surrendered. Inside, there isn't much. A folded jacket, moth-eaten, a pair of boots, soles cracked like baked earth, a lunchbox with its paint worn away, and behind them, wedged into the back corner, the edge of something pale. You reach in, fingers brushing cold metal, then cardboard. The jacket sagged against it all these years, a quiet guard. You move it aside, coughing as dust blooms in your face. Your fingertips find an envelope. It resists at first, stuck to the metal by age and damp, then peels free with a soft tearing sound that feels too loud in the quiet. You pull it out into the light. It's thick, yellowed, edges crumbling. A strip of brittle tape crosses the flap. Your name is written across the front in that same familiar looping hand. Your full name, rank. Your throat feels suddenly dry. He never called you by your rank, not in letters, not at home. He joked that he'd earned his own in life and didn't need anyone else's. You run your thumb along the letters, tracing the grooves of ink that has seeped slightly into the paper over decades. The date in the corner makes your stomach lurch. Written neatly, as if for an official document, June 12, 1984. You blink, do the math you already know by heart. You weren't even in basic training then. You were a teenager, restless, angry at everything. You didn't enlist until years later. You didn't earn that rank until long after your father was gone. He shouldn't have known to write it that way. The room seems to lean gently around you, the walls tilting a fraction of a degree. Your balance shifts. You tighten your grip on the locker door with one hand, clutching the envelope with the other. From the doorway, claws click nervously on tile. You glance back. The dog has stepped inside now. His injured leg hovers barely off the ground, but he moves forward anyway, head low, nose working furiously. His eyes fix on the envelope in your hand, then lift to your face, then drop again to the space beneath the bottom row of lockers. He whines, a thin, uncertain sound that rasps in the air. "What?" you mutter. Your voice sounds rough, as if you haven't used it in days. "You dragged me all the way in here just to watch?" He ignores your tone, takes another step, then another, until he's close enough for you to see the scars along his muzzle, the tiny flecks of paint stuck to his fur as if he's pushed through narrow spaces more than once. He noses your wrist, then nudges your hand downward, insistently. "The letter?" you ask. "You want the letter?" He huffs once, not quite a bark. Then he drops his head and shoves his snout under the edge of the locker beside you, claws scrabbling. Something scrapes along the floor. You crouch slowly, your knees protest, joints grinding like the old machinery in the main hall, and follow his line of sight. There's a narrow gap beneath the neighboring locker, darkness pressed flat. In that darkness, something white glows faintly beneath dust. The dog paws again, drawing it a fraction closer. You slide your fingers under, skin rasping on the gritty floor, and pinch the object between two knuckles. It comes free with a drag of dust, faintly scratching. Another envelope, smaller this time, no tape across the flap. It's in better condition than the one from the locker, as if it found a more sheltered resting place. You brush dust off with your thumb and freeze. Your name again. Same handwriting, same looping letters, same rank, same date. But this envelope has something else. On the back, in smaller letters, your father added a line. You turn it slowly, pulse drumming in your ears, and read, "For when he finally comes back, even if it's not really him." Your hand goes cold. For a heartbeat, the factory is utterly silent. No wind, no pigeons, no creaking beams. Just you, a limping dog, and two envelopes written to a man you weren't yet, by a father who shouldn't have known. You feel watched. Not by the dog, not by cameras, but by the weight of time itself folding in on this room. The dog sits down beside you with a heavy sigh, as if you've reached the first checkpoint on a long, predetermined route. You realize, with a clarity that cuts through every foggy memory, that this place and these letters have been waiting for you longer than you've even been yourself. And the worst part is not that your father somehow knew your future rank, it's the way he phrased it, even if it's not really him. You stare at the words, your own name hovering above them, and a question you never thought to ask begins to open in your chest like a crack in concrete. Who, exactly, did he think would walk into this locker room one day wearing your name? You don't open the letter right away. You tell yourself it's because the air in here feels too thick, too stale, too loaded with whatever this room has been holding for decades. But the truth is simpler, sharper. You're afraid of what your father wrote, or worse, what he remembered that you don't. The dog noses your elbow again, breath warm against your sleeve, urging you forward, or maybe urging you away. You can't tell yet. His eyes flick back toward the corridor, then toward the deeper dark behind the row of lockers. He's waiting for you to decide. You slide both envelopes inside your jacket. The older one crackles, the newer one seems to settle against your chest like a heartbeat that isn't yours. You straighten slowly, cane scraping tile as you stand. Your knees complain, your hip clicks, your back gives a quiet warning that you've pushed your limits already, but you're not leaving, not yet. The dog hovers at your side as you step into the hallway again. The light feels different now, more slanted, as if the building has rotated around you by a few degrees. Dust drifts in slow spirals. The sound of your cane tapping the floor echoes longer than it should, repeating itself as if the corridor is trying to memorize your footsteps. "Come on," you say, nodding down the hall. "Let's get some air." You expect the dog to limp beside you. Instead, he trots ahead, just a few feet, just far enough to stay visible but not close enough to touch. He looks back, ears twitching, checking your pace. It's intentional. He wants you to follow. You move deeper into the building, past the weaving hall, past the rusted vats where they once boiled fabric into impossible colors, past the office door with its safety posters faded into blank sheets. The deeper you go, the colder it becomes. A smell begins to creep into the air, metallic, faintly sweet, something like rainwater sitting too long in a rusted bucket. It triggers something low in your spine. Not memory, not exactly, more like recognition, like you've smelled this before, somewhere you'd rather forget, but the factory is pulling you forward, or the dog is, or the letter in your chest is. It's hard to tell which one has the lead. The dog stops when you reach a large doorway, its frame bent, half blocked by a collapsed beam. He waits, head low, tail motionless. You squeeze through the narrow gap, wood scraping your jacket, your shoulder catches, pain flaring down your arm, but you push through into a vast open space, the old spinning hall, high ceilings, iron rafters, rows of machines arranged like tombstones, pigeons roost on wires overhead, their coos bouncing through the room like distant voices. And in the center of it all, light. A column of gold sunlight beams down from a missing section of roof, turning dust into slow-motion glitter. The space feels hollow, cathedral-like, a sanctuary built from decay. The dog limps directly into the light. He pauses, looks over his shoulder, and you feel the unspoken command, "Here!" Here is where you open it. Your hand drifts to the envelope inside your jacket. The older one or the newer one. It doesn't matter. They both frighten you in different ways. You pull the older one out first. The brittle tape cracks as your thumb presses against it. The paper resists, then yields with a soft tear. Inside, there's no letter, just a single sheet of folded paper, thicker than modern stationery, yellowed at the folds. You unfold it carefully. The handwriting hits you like a physical impact. Your father's looping script, familiar in ways your own memories sometimes aren't. The first line stops your breath mid-inhale. If you're reading this, it means the town didn't keep you. You freeze. The building seems to tighten around you. You read on, "I hope it's really you." But if it isn't, If you're wearing his name but not his years, listen carefully. Your fingers tremble, the edges of the paper blur, you blink until the words steady again. There are things in this place older than us, things that remember differently. They don't see time the way we do. Your throat goes dry, you swallow, but it doesn't help. If you came back early, if you came back late, if you came back wrong, follow the dog. Your heart slams once, painfully against your ribs. You look up. The dog sits perfectly still in the golden light, watching you with an intensity that borders on human. You look back at the letter. He will take you where I couldn't. But be careful. If he leads you to the basement, remember who you are, and remember who you are not. The spinning hall goes silent. Even the pigeons stop moving. You whisper, barely audible, "Dad, what did you know?" The dog stands suddenly, ears pricked. He turns toward the far end of the hall, the shadowed corner where the stairwell waits, the stairs to the basement. He looks back at you once. Then he limps toward the darkness. Your pulse stumbles. Your breath stutters. Every instinct in you screams to stop, to go back, to leave this building and never return. But something colder whispers beneath that fear. You need to know. You've always needed to know. You follow him. You cross between the rows of dead machines, their belts hanging like tongues, their gears frozen mid-motion. You pass into the darker corner, where the sunlight can't reach. The air cools sharply, like stepping inside a freezer. The dog descends the first step into the stairwell. You grip the railing with your free hand as you follow. The metal is ice cold. Flecks of rust stick to your palm. The stairwell swallows you in shadow. Your cane taps against concrete that feels too smooth, too worn, as if thousands of footsteps have carved it down over time. But no one's been here in decades. At the bottom of the stairs, a faint hum vibrates in the air. Mechanical, distant, impossible, like a machine running far below the ground. Your father wrote this letter before you earned your rank, before you left, before you even knew who you'd become. But he knew you'd return. He knew you'd follow something down these stairs, and he warned you about being not yourself. Your hand tightens on the letter. The dog stops at the base of the stairwell, his body tense, his ears angled toward the next door. The door is metal, heavy, industrial, and it's slightly open. A cold draft seeps out, carrying the smell again, rust, rainwater, and something else, something like memory, but not yours. The dog looks back at you, eyes shining in the dimness. This is the moment your father meant. You're sure of it. You reach for the door, your fingers brush the metal. It swings inward on its own, and beyond it, a faint light pulses once like a heartbeat buried in the dark. The light pulses again, a faint sickly glow, soft and greenish like something underwater trying to breathe. It spills out just enough to outline the edges of the basement door, painting a thin line along the concrete floor. You stand on the threshold, one hand still braced against the metal, the letter warm against your ribs as if your father's words have a temperature of their own. Behind you, the stairwell rises into darkness. Above that, the factory. Above that, the town. Everything that made you, everything that broke you, everything you left. In front of you, the unknown. The dog steps through first. He doesn't wait this time. He squeezes his thin frame past your legs and into the room beyond, nails ticking on a floor you can't see yet. His tail is low but not tucked, ears angled forward, body taut with wariness. You follow. The air changes as soon as you cross the threshold. It's colder, yes, but not the natural chill of underground stone. It's the specific cold of stored things. Metal shelves, concrete walls, water that never sees the sun. Your eyes adjust slowly. The faint green glow resolves into an old emergency exit sign near the far wall, its casing cracked, one corner hanging loose. The bulb inside flickers, fighting death in slow, uneven pulses. So that's the light. The hum you heard in the stairwell is louder here. A low, constant vibration, seeping through the floor and into your bones. It feels like standing on the deck of a ship, engines turning somewhere below. You take a careful step forward. Your cane taps concrete that's slick in patches. When you shift your weight, water squelches softly under your boot. There must be a pump running somewhere, something keeping this place from filling up and drowning quietly. You should be comforted by the idea of machinery still working, still doing its job after all these years. Instead, it makes your skin prickle. Someone's paying for the electricity. You sweep your gaze around the room. It's bigger than you expected, more like a series of rooms blurred together, with low dividing walls and rows of metal shelving units that disappear into darkness. Boxes sag on the shelves, their labels gone blurry with moisture. Old equipment stands under stained tarps. A tangle of pipes runs along the ceiling, sweating condensation. The dog pads forward, nose close to the ground. He sniffs carefully, pausing at certain spots, shying away from others. Twice he skirts the edge of a dark stain on the floor, refusing to cross it, choosing a wider path around. You don't step in those places either. The smell is stronger here, rust and old water and something else, something that reminds you of the bunker overseas, the one with the narrow halls and flickering lights that buzz like trapped insects, the one where you spent 3 nights listening for footsteps that never came, and one night where they did. For a moment, you're there again. The ceiling is lower, the air is hotter, thick with oil and sweat. A generator rattles somewhere nearby. Your uniform sticks to your back. Radios whisper in bursts of static. Someone laughs too loudly in the next room. Someone else recites a prayer under their breath in a language you never learned, but understand anyway. You blink. The emergency sign snaps back into focus. The cold concrete under your boots returns. The dog is watching you with his head tilted slightly, as if he saw you drift away and waited for you to come back. You exhale slowly, testing the reality of the air leaving your lungs. It fogs faintly in the cold. "Basement, huh?" you murmur. Your voice is half a joke, half a plea for something to answer. "You always did keep your worst secrets underground, Dad." No answer, of course. Just the hum, the flicker, the drip of unseen water. The dog moves again, weaving between shelves, his path not straight but purposeful. He stops occasionally to sniff a box, then dismisses it. He noses open the corner of a fallen tarp and quickly lets it drop again, as if what's underneath doesn't matter. He's looking for something specific. He seems sure it's here. You follow its trail, cane ticking a slow rhythm. Every step feels too loud. Sound behaves strangely in this room, swallowed and thrown back in fragments as if the walls are editing what you hear. You pass a metal cabinet whose door hangs open, revealing rows of dusty binders. A faded label on the side reads, "Safety!" Incident reports. You don't stop. Not yet. Another shelf holds plastic crates. Someone scrawled dates on the sides with marker, 1979, 1980. 1981. The ink has bled into the plastic, numbers blurring into each other, years melting together. You glance down at your chest, June 12, 1984. Too early, too late, wrong somehow, in both directions. The dog takes a sharp turn between 2 particularly tall shelving units, squeezing into a narrow aisle barely wide enough for you. Cardboard boxes press close on both sides. Some have collapsed, spilling their contents. Fabric scraps, broken tools, empty spools. You brush strands of cobweb from your face. Tiny threads cling stubbornly to your skin. At the end of the aisle, the dog stops. He sits. He doesn't look at you this time. He looks up. You follow his gaze. The nearest shelf stands against a concrete pillar. Bolted to that pillar is a gray metal box, about the size of a suitcase, mounted at chest height. Its paint is peeling. A label, once white, now the color of old bones, is fixed to the front with 2 corroded screws. The label has 3 lines. Company, property. LOG, archive, unit 3, do not disconnect while active. A cable as thick as your thumb runs from the bottom of the box down the pillar and into the floor. You can feel the vibration through your boots now, faint, steady, like a distant heartbeat. The box hums. You stare at it. Of all the machinery in this building, this is what someone chose to keep alive. You step closer. Your palm brushes the front of the box. The metal is cold, almost painfully so. You flinch back instinctively. The dog lets out a low whine like he's afraid you'll break something important. On the side of the box, a narrow slot opens like a mouth. A strip of paper protrudes from it, narrow, perforated at the edges, printed with a faded line of dots and letters. You pinch the paper and tug. It resists, then unspools with a soft whispering sound, sliding from the machine's innards. Tiny holes run along its edges, meant to be gripped by gears and rollers. The hum deepens for a moment, as if your touch has reminded the box it still has work to do. You tear the paper off when you feel resistance. The end is ragged. A fresh edge slides into place behind it, ready to begin recording again. You hold the strip up to the dim green light. At first, it's just an abstract pattern. Dots, dashes, tiny printed characters. But when you squint, the pattern resolves. A timestamp, a date, an ID code, and a word. The date hits first. JUN 12, 1984. You feel the world tilt again. The timestamp follows. 09,001, 17,003. You weren't here. You know where you were at that time, sitting in a dusty classroom 3 towns over, plotting escape routes from a life that felt too small. The ID string comes next. EMP, so 147. That's not you, or at least not in any system you remember, but the word printed after it makes your skin go cold. E-entry, returned. You stare at that single word until your eyes sting. Returned! Returned when? Returned from where? Returned from where? Returned as who? The dog shifts his weight, nails scraping softly on the floor. The sound jolts you free from whatever spiral you were sliding into. You glance at the rest of the strip. Below that entry, other lines march in neat succession. Different times, different days. Some old, some strangely recent. The last one on the strip is dated 2 days ago. Your stomach takes a slow, unpleasant drop. 2 days ago, you were at your kitchen table, phone pressed to your ear, listening to the old neighbor's voice tremble as she told you about the locker, about your father, about the something he left behind. The strip in your hand claims something else was happening here. The last line reads, Novi 29, 2025, 18,321, EMP 0147, E-entry, A Pro Hing. Noise drains out of the world. The hum fades into the background. The dripping disappears. Even the emergency sign's flicker seems to slow, each pulse delayed, as if time itself is holding its breath with you. Approaching. You haven't been in this town for months. You haven't seen this factory in decades. You didn't even buy your bus ticket until yesterday morning. And yet, the machine in this basement logged you as an employee you never were. Approaching 2 days before you stepped off that bus, your fingers lock around the strip. The paper crinkles under the force of your grip. There's a sound to your left. A soft rustle, a whispered shift of weight on concrete. You turn quickly, hand flying to the inside of your jacket, not for a weapon that isn't there, but for the familiar shape of the envelope against your chest, as if it's become some kind of talisman. Nothing moves between the shelves, no figures, no shadows that don't belong. Just rows of boxes, the curve of a pipe, the glint of pooled water catching the faint green light. The dog stands. He lifts his nose, sniffs the air, and then steps past you to the next section of shelving. He pauses at the end, gaze locked on a darker corner of the room. There's another shake there, lowered to the ground. Not a machine, not a shelf. You approach slowly, heart pounding. As you get closer, details resolve. It's a table, one of those institutional metal types with angled legs and a chipped enamel surface. A single chair is pulled back slightly, empty. On the tabletop, something rectangular catches the light. A plastic sleeve. Inside it, paper. You reach out. The sleeve has a strip of tape across the top, sealing it. Condensation beads inside, tiny droplets clinging to the plastic as if the contents have been sweating. A label is stuck to the front. EMP, Poto, Log, Archive, Copy. Someone has written a single number on the label in marker, 147, the same number as the ID on the paper strip. EMP, no 147. Your thumb hesitates over the tape. The dog leans close, fur brushing your thigh. He says nothing, of course, but his presence is a weight, an anchor. You peel the tape slowly. The sound is small but huge in the silence. You slide the photo out. It's an old instant print, colors washed out toward yellow. The edges are curved, the surface slightly warped from moisture. A thin fog of dust lifts as you move it. You turn it toward the emergency light. The image sharpens. A man stands in front of the factory's main gate. The metal letters over the entrance are still intact, shiny, untouched by the rust that devoured them later. Cars line the street. The sky is bright. The man wears a jacket, the same style you're wearing now. Same patches, same frayed cuff. He's looking at the camera, not quite smiling, not quite frowning. His hair is darker than yours is now, but cut the same way you used to wear it. His posture is familiar. The way he balances his weight, the angle of his shoulders. A chill creeps up the back of your neck. You know that face. You shaved it this morning, watching your reflection in a bathroom mirror, counting gray hairs like tally marks. It's you. It's you, standing in front of this factory, at least 30 years ago. And the date scribbled in your father's familiar handwriting along the white border of the photo, June 12, 1984. Your hand trembles. The photo flutters, almost slips from your grasp. The dog makes a soft, anxious sound, like a warning. You've never been photographed here. You'd swear that on any holy book someone put in front of you. You pull the picture closer, searching for a mistake, a trick of light, some evidence that you're misreading your own features. But the truth is there, in the set of the jaw, the old scar near the eyebrow, the tiny wrinkle at the corner of the mouth that always appears when you're pretending not to be tired. This isn't just someone who looks like you. This is you. Your pulse slams harder now, an urgent drum in your ears. The machine logs your approach before you arrive. Your father writes to a rank you hadn't earned. A photo shows you standing where you never stood, on a day you remember spending 2 towns over. Something in this building remembers you in ways you don't remember yourself. You flip the photo over, desperate for more. There's one line on the back, shaky handwriting. ink blotted in one spot where the pen paused too long. It says, "Return before he left." The emergency sign flickers violently, then steadies. The hum under your feet deepens. Somewhere behind you, in the dark of the basement, another light clicks on with a sharp mechanical snap. One you didn't touch, one you didn't even know was there. You and the dog turn toward the sound at the same time. In the far corner of the room, beyond the circle of the greenish glow, a narrow strip of white light yawns open along the floor, like the seam of a door you hadn't noticed before sliding a fraction of an inch. Something on the other side breathes out a draft of air that smells like old paper and colder memories. And for the first time since you stepped into this factory, you're no longer sure you're the only living person down here. The line of white light widens, slowly, smoothly, without sound, without hesitation, as if whoever or whatever is opening the hidden door has been waiting for this exact moment. Your fingers clamp tighter around the photo. The edges dig into your skin, grounding you, reminding you of what you saw. Your own face staring back from a place you never stood. In a year your memory swears you spent somewhere else entirely. The dog steps closer to you, shoulder brushing your leg. He doesn't bark. He doesn't growl. He just stands there, steady as a breath you didn't know you were holding. You whisper to him, voice low, rough. "Stay close." He does. You move toward the widening light, cane tapping softly against the concrete. Each tap echoes differently now, sharper, clearer like. The acoustics have changed on the other side of that hidden seam. By the time you reach it, the gap is wide enough to slip through. It isn't a door, it's a panel, flush with the basement wall, disguised behind a false surface. The kind you'd only notice if you were looking for hairline seams or felt for unusual airflow. But you weren't looking. It opened for you on its own. You slide a hand along the edge. The metal is cold, colder than the machines outside, colder than the emergency sign. Your fingers tingle as if the material is pulling heat from your skin. You push the panel gently. It glides inward without resistance. A short, narrow corridor stretches ahead, only a few steps deep. The air inside is different, warmer, smelling faintly of something sterile. Not chemical, not industrial, medical. A memory stirs, a hospital tent in the desert, the smell of antiseptic and sunburned canvas, your name spoken softly by someone you can't quite recall. You blink it away. Too early for that. The corridor ends in a second door, solid steel, heavy, with a thick handle and a small rectangular glass window at eye level. The glass looks clearer than anything else in this building. Untouched by dust, maintained. The dog stops at the threshold. He won't step inside. He lowers his head, ears angled back, not fear, but warning. He looks up at you and gives a low, almost resigned whine. You rest your hand briefly on his back, warm, trustworthy, alive. "I'll be right here," you tell him. A lie you don't want to examine too closely. You step into the hidden corridor. Your boots land on tile, not concrete. Newer tile, less worn. The door closes behind you. You don't touch it. It closes slowly, the light in the main room narrowing into a thin slice before disappearing entirely. The dog is on the other side, separated from you by several inches of steel. But you hear him. One soft bark, one scratch at the door. He's not gone, just waiting. You turn toward the inner door. A small light above the frame blinks red. Once, twice, then flicks to green. Something in the mechanism clicks. The door unlocks. You hesitate only long enough to wonder how many years this system has been powered, waiting for someone with your name and your face to return. Then you pull the handle. The door swings open on silent hinges. The room beyond is small, square, precise. Not industrial, not improvised. Purpose built. A single overhead lamp shines a circle of clean white light onto the center of the room, leaving the edges shadowed. The air is colder here. Not damp cold like the basement, but climate-controlled cold. In the center of the room sits a chair, metal, bolted to the floor. Facing it, a simple desk, a tape recorder, a stack of folders, a metal tray with a cracked ceramic mug resting on top, and on the far wall, your breath catches, photographs, hundreds of them, pinned in a grid, stretching from floor to ceiling. At first glance, they look like employee photos, ID shots, taken with the same backdrop, same flat lighting. Every person stands stiffly, facing the camera. But when you step closer, your knees threaten to give out. They're all you. Not lookalikes, not cousins. You. Different ages, different haircuts, different clothing, different years scrawled along the bottom. Decades of you. Years you were elsewhere. Years you were deployed. Years you were too young to even come here. Years you hadn't been born. Your hand rises to your neck. Your pulse stutters. Someone documented your face across a timeline that doesn't belong to you. You scan the rows. Dozens more. Some are faded, some are crisp. A few are blurred, as if you were moving too fast for the camera. One shows you standing at the factory gate, the same photo you hold now, the same date written beneath it. Your stomach twists. You step closer. One photograph, one from 1984, has writing along the edge. Your father's handwriting. You read the words aloud, barely breathing them. "Take care of him, whichever one he is." Your hand grips the desk to steady yourself. The room seems to tilt. The lamp hums, the walls close in. You look back at the photos, at the faces that are yours but not yours, at the impossible timeline spread across the wall like a mosaic of your own reflection fractured in time. Your cane slips from your hand. It clatters to the floor, loud as a gunshot in a small room. A noise stirs behind you. Not from the dog, not from the door, from the corner you haven't looked at yet. The darkest corner, opposite the light. Someone exhales. A voice, dry, ragged, barely human, whispers, "You came back late this time. Your blood freezes." You turn slowly. In the shadowed corner, hunched against the wall, sits a man, knees drawn up, arms wrapped loosely around them, hair long, tangled, clothes filthy, threadbare. You take one step closer, and your heart stops. The man lifts his head, eyes hollow, face gaunt, skin pale with months of indoor light. But unmistakably, your face, older, broken, alive. The other, you blink slowly, as if pulling himself from a dream. "Don't run," he murmurs. His voice is your voice, strained and cracked. "You always run, and it never helps. You can't speak, you can barely swallow." He looks past you, toward the wall of photos, then back at you. "Do you know which one you are yet?" You take another step back, too stunned to breathe. He nods faintly, as if expecting that reaction. "Well," he says, voice thin but steady. "Let's start there. You can't move. Not at first." Your muscles tense, then lock, as if your body has slammed an emergency brake your mind didn't authorize. The man across the room, the man shaped exactly like you, slowly unfolds his legs. His joints crack. Dust sifts off his clothes. His hair hangs in uneven clumps across his face, silver threaded through the dark in a way that matches your reflection a little too closely. He leans forward, forearms resting on his knees. "You look better than I did," he says. His voice is a rasp, dragged across gravel. "That's good. Means you still have time." You try to speak, but the sound that comes out is nothing. Just breath. Just shock. Just a piece of you breaking loose from whatever certainty it was clinging to. He lifts a hand, palm outward in a slow, calming gesture. One you've used on panicking recruits, on frightened civilians, on dogs startled awake in combat zones. "Don't force anything yet. Let it settle. You swallow hard." Your throat feels raw, scraped from the inside. "Who are you?" you finally manage, though the words feel crooked, incomplete. He huffs out something like a laugh. Not amused, just exhausted by the question itself. "You're asking the wrong version," he murmurs. "But that's all right. You don't remember the right ones yet." He shifts again, pushing himself upright with visible effort. His legs tremble. When he stands, he's your height, your build, just thinner, carved down by time spent underground. He takes one step toward the light, just one, but it's enough to see him clearly. You feel the floor tilt under your boots. Your stomach twists so sharply, you have to brace your hand against the desk. He's you, absolutely, undeniably you. Down to the scar near your eyebrow, down to the old burn mark on your forearm, down to the way he favors his left leg when he stands. But older, so much older it hurts to look at him. He watches your reaction with a kind of sad familiarity. "You're thinking this is impossible," he says. "You said the same thing last time." You shake your head. Your breath comes too fast. "What last time?" He lifts his eyes. "Gray, same as yours, except his holds something behind them. Something stretched thin by years of solitude, and something heavier, memory you don't have." He gestures weakly toward the wall of photographs. "You've been coming back here your entire life," he says. "You just don't remember most of the trips." Your pulse stammers. "No," you whisper. "No, I would remember that." "I never." "You did," he interrupts softly. "But remembering isn't the same as living. Not here." Your vision tightens for a moment, black creeping into the edges. You grip the desk harder. "Explain." You manage. He nods, relieved you're ready to hear it. "This building," he says, "the people who ran it, they were doing more than weaving fabric. They were weaving continuity, testing it, breaking it, stitching it back together in patterns no one was supposed to see." You blink slowly. His words hit you like waves, soft at first, then sharp when they crash. He continues, "You weren't born here to visit a dying factory. You were born here because something in this place marks people, certain people, and pulls them back when the threads start to fray. Your heartbeat stutters. Something cold trickles through your veins. This town, he whispers, doesn't let go of its chosen. A faint scrape behind you makes you turn instinctively, but it's only the dog pressed against the outer door, whining softly as if feeling your rising panic through the steel. The older you hears it too, his expression softens, just a fraction. That dog, he says, has followed every version of us down here. He always knows when to guide and when to warn. He sinks into the chair bolted to the floor, breath shaky. This place has been running a cycle for decades. Every few years, one of us returns, sometimes young, sometimes old, sometimes wrong. He lifts his eyes to yours, searching. This time, it's you. The real me, you snap, throat tightening. Something flickers across his face. Sadness, recognition, fear. Maybe, he says softly, but you've said that before too. Your pulse hammers. What cycle, you demand? He nods weakly toward the humming archive machine outside, the one printing logs with your name long before you arrive. The arrival logs aren't predicting you, he whispers. They're remembering you, but memory here doesn't go in a straight line. It loops, it rewinds, it overlaps. Versions bleed into each other. He gestures shakily at the photo wall. That's why there are so many of us. Your breath catches, your chest tightens. He leans forward, voice dropping to a harsh whisper. And that's why you need to listen very carefully now. Because I'm the only version who made it far enough to warn the next. You feel the coldest drop of fear slide down your spine. Warn me about what, you ask? He lifts a trembling hand and points past you. To the door you just came through, the one the dog couldn't get past. The factory, he says. It doesn't just track us, it tests us. Every cycle has a beginning and a break point. A decision point? Your grip tightens on the edge of the desk. He swallows hard. And if you choose wrong this time, you'll become the next version trapped here. A chill ripples over your skin. You manage to whisper, "Trapped how?" He steps fully into the light now, and you see it. His shadow isn't quite attached to him. It lags behind by half a second, like a bad projection. Like something else is trying to catch up to him or peel away. He sees your eyes widen. It starts small, he whispers. A second out of sync, a memory missing here, a day repeating there, then time folds, then identity folds, and before you know it, his voice cracks. You're not sure which version you are anymore. You stagger back. "No," he says sharply, reaching out as if to grab your sleeve. "You have to stay with me. You have to hear the rest before it's too late." Your breath shudders. "What do you want from me?" you ask. He closes his eyes. When he opens them again, something in his expression collapses inward like a man losing a long and painful battle. "I want you to understand the truth," he whispers, "because the letters won't tell you. The photos won't tell you. The machine won't tell you." He raises a shaking hand and places it flat on his chest. "I'm the only proof left. You, Swallow. What proof?" He meets your eyes. "You're not the first version who came back." A pause, a breath. A crack in reality. You're the last. The emergency light flickers violently overhead, once, twice, and the dog barks sharply behind the inner door, claws scraping metal, frantic. Because something is coming, something the older you hears first. He whispers one final warning. Whatever you do, don't trust the next voice you hear. The warning hangs in the air. Don't trust the next voice you hear. It clings to your skin like cold sweat, sinks into your bones like a memory you never lived but still fear. The older version of you, thin, trembling, shadow peeling slightly behind him, stares at the door, jaw tight, body coiled. He hears something you don't, not yet, but the dog hears it too. A sharp bark echoes from behind the steel door you left him on the other side of. Nails scrape against metal, fast, frantic, a desperate rhythm that doesn't fit the calm, almost stoic animal that led you here. Something is wrong. You open your mouth to speak, to ask what's happening, but you freeze because you hear it now. A voice, soft, low, familiar, too familiar. "Dad?" Your entire body turns to ice. The word slides through the metal door behind you, thin as breath, fragile as a child's question asked in the middle of the night. "Dad, are you in there?" Your lungs lock. You haven't heard that voice in 20 years. Your son was 6 the night he asked it. Small hand clutching a blanket, eyes glassy from nightmares, standing at your bedroom door. You remember the way he whispered the word "Dad" then. It's the same voice now, exactly the same, unchanged, untouched by time. A 6-year-old calling to you from the other side of a sealed industrial basement wall. You stumble back, knees trembling. "No," you whisper, "no, that's not possible." Behind you, the older version moves faster than his frail frame should allow. He grabs your sleeve, yanking you back from the door with surprising strength. "Don't go to it," he hisses. "It always chooses a voice you know." "Always?" you choke out. "What do you mean, always?" He flinches, eyes squeezing shut. "I've heard my mother, my brother, And worse, I've heard you. Every version hears what they want most. Your stomach lurches. The little voice on the far side calls again. Dad? It's dark. I'm scared. Can you open the door? Your knees nearly buckle. Your fingers curl uselessly at your sides. Stop, you whisper. Please stop. Your voice sounds like it's being scraped raw. The older you grabs your chin, forcing your eyes to his. Look at me, he says softly, your own voice, cracked by years of isolation. You know your son isn't here. You shake your head violently. But, his voice, memory is a cheap lock, he mutters. This place picks it clean. You stand there panting, heart pounding against your ribs like it's trying to escape your body. Every instinct in you screams to run to that door, throw it open, sweep that small, trembling voice into your arms and hold him. Smell his hair, feel the weight of him again. But instinct is the trap here. The dog's barking heightens, sharp, warning, desperate. Something thumps against the far side of the door. Not a fist, not a child's hand. Something heavier, something dragging. Your blood runs cold. The voice shifts, not tone, not pitch, but shape, as if the mouth making it doesn't understand how sound is supposed to form. Dad, a warping, a pulling, like stretching fabric too thin. The older you pulls you away again, voice harsh. That's not him. Listen, really listen. You force yourself still. Force yourself silent. Force your mind past the ice-cold terror gripping your spine. The voice comes again. Let me, eat me. The vowels drag too long. The timing is wrong. The pauses are mechanical, not human. And beneath the pitch-perfect imitation, beneath the childish tremble, you hear it, the hum, the same vibration that runs through the floor, through the archive machine, through the very walls. The voice is threaded with it, like it's woven from the same signal. You stagger back until your spine hits the metal desk. The photo in your fist bends. You don't even feel it. That's not my son, you whisper. The older you lets out a breath relief mixed with grief. No, he says, it's not anyone's son. There's a sudden metallic snap behind the door, the sound of a latch trying to disengage. The dog barks, once sharp, terrified. You whirl toward the door. It's trying to open it, you gasp. It's trying to get through. It won't, the older you says. Not yet, not yet. You hiss. His eyes flick toward the wall of photographs. Because it doesn't know which one you are. Your breath stops. What do you mean? You're not the first to stand in this room, he says quietly. This place has had versions of us coming and going for decades. Some were taken, some escaped, some disappeared into their own wrong memories. His gaze drops to your chest, to the envelopes, to the letters written to a future self he shouldn't have known. You might be the last one, he whispers. The last version it can't quite match. Your pulse hammers painfully. The door shakes. Once, twice. Dad! The warped voice moans. Open, open, open! The sound drills into your skull. You press your palms to your ears, but the vibration isn't just sound. It's under your skin, in your teeth, in the marrow of your bones. The older you speaks quickly, urgently. You have to hear the rest before it finds the right pitch. What pitch? You shout. He steps closer. The one that fits your memory. Once it does, you won't be able to resist opening that door. Your heart slams. So tell me, you yell. Tell me why it's calling me, why it knows my face, why there are versions of me all over this wall. The older you draws a slow, shaking breath. Then he says the words that make your blood turn to ice. Because this place didn't copy your face. He lifts a trembling finger and presses it to your sternum. It copied something much older inside you. The door jolts violently behind you. Dust shakes from the ceiling. The dog howls. A raw, primal sound you've never heard from him before. The older you grabs your shoulders. You carry a thread, he whispers. A thread this factory has been weaving for decades. Your breath shudders. What thread? His eyes lock onto yours. The one that connects every version of us. Your skin tingles, not with cold, not with fear, but with recognition you can't explain. What does that mean, you cry. The older you leans in close. It means... A breath, a tremor, a whisper. You're not the only one who came back. Before you can speak, the lights overhead explode into a stuttering frenzy, and the voice behind the door suddenly shifts into your own. Perfectly, flawlessly, as if a mirror learned to speak. The voice on the other side of the door is your own. Not similar, not close, perfect. Every breath, every tremor, every microscopic hesitation you've ever had in speech reflected back at you with surgical precision. Let me in. 2 words, but they gut something inside you. Because you've said them before, not here, not in this nightmare of a basement, but to someone you loved at a moment you've spent years trying not to remember. Your hand twitches toward the door. The older you slams his palm against your chest, pinning you back against the desk. Don't look at it, he snarls. Don't engage. It can't open unless you start to believe it's you. Your chest heaves. It is me, you spit, voice sharp with panic. That's my voice. He shakes his head. No, it's the thread, the same one running through every version of us. It can sound like any of us, but it only becomes convincing when you let your mind fill in the missing pieces. The missing pieces, the years you only half remember, the deployments that feel like they belong to someone else, the months after your son's death you can barely recall. Your memories are full of holes, places where time should be, places something else could slip inside. The door rattles again, harder, a sharp metallic quake that vibrates through the floor and up your legs. The dog howls on the other side, not barking, not warning, howling, long and low, the sound a creature makes when it sees something that does not belong in this world. Finally, the dragging scrape stops. Silence presses against the steel like a held breath. Then your voice, your exact tone when you're trying to hide fear, whispers, I know what you're thinking. You can't trust him. You can only trust yourself. The older you stiffens, the thing behind the door has changed tactics, and it's good at it. Your pulse slams in your throat, sweat beads on your palms, your cane lies forgotten by the chair. The dark behind the door feels colder now, hungrier. He steps closer to you, too close, and grabs your wrist, forcing your hand away from the door. Listen to me, he hisses, breath warm against your cheek. Every time a version returns, the thread gets thinner. We get more, unstable. He gestures at his own shadow. It lags behind him by a fraction of a second. Barely noticeable, until it's all you can see. This place isn't making copies, he says. It's pulling us from the same source, one by one, cycle after cycle. Your heart thunders. You whisper, why? He swallows, a dry, painful sound. Because something broke the thread a long time ago, and this factory was built to stitch it back, but it couldn't. The damage was too deep, so it started pulling, replacements, versions, echoes. His voice drops lower, until it found the right one. A sickening weight settles in your gut. And what if the right one never comes, you ask. He meets your gaze. Then we blur, he whispers. All of us. Something slams against the door. Both of you whip around. This time it's not a voice, not a drag, not a mimic. A shape hits the small window. Just a flash, a smear of pale skin, a glimpse of eyes that look too much like yours, too wide, too empty. The dog snarls, a guttural, violent sound, and throws his weight against the door from the far side, as though trying to push you away from danger. You react without thinking. Open it! You shout. The older you tackles you hard, driving you back against the metal desk. Something crashes to the floor. A folder, a mug, a strip of paper. No, he roars. Not that door. Never that door. You struggle under him. Let me go. The dog knows, he shouts. The dog has always known. That's why it leads us and never enters. It can smell what the thread becomes. You freeze. The older you releases his grip slightly. You feel your pulse beating under his hands. What is it, you whisper? What's behind that door? He sits back, breath ragged. The first version, he says quietly. The one that never left. The one who broke. The one the factory kept trying to repair. Your blood goes cold. He looks toward the door, the steel barrier shaking from whatever slams against it again. That's what the thread looks like when it's wrong. Your stomach twists. But it sounds like me, you whisper. It sounds like all of us, he replies. That's the problem. You swallow hard. Why doesn't it break the door? He wipes a shaking hand across his mouth. Because it's incomplete. Because the factory keeps stitching and stitching, but it never finishes the seam. It needs the right version to close the loop. Your voice cracks. And that's me? He shakes his head. No, that's what it wants. What it needs, he leans close again, voice dropping to a near breathe, is the one version who didn't break. Your breath hitches. And who's that? He looks at you the way someone looks at the last candle in a storm. You! The door behind you gives one final violent shudder, and then it falls silent. The dog stops barking, stops howling, too suddenly. The hairs rise on the back of your neck. You take one step toward the door, but the older you grabs your arm, eyes wide, voice breaking. Don't. That silence isn't safety. It's recognition. You feel your heartbeat stutter. Recognition of what? He whispers. Silence. Not the natural kind. Not the quiet of an empty building. Not the hush of still air. But a constructed silence, like a hand pressed over the mouth of the world. The older you stiffens. His eyes go distant, unfocused, as though he's listening to something beyond the walls. It's found your thread, he repeats quietly, which means we're out of time. You swallow, throat dry. What does it want? You whisper. He turns to you, jaw tight. What every broken thing wants, to be whole again. A faint scrape shudders through the metal door behind you. Not loud, not violent, slow, measured. as though the thing behind it is touching the door now, not to force entry, but to feel you through it. Your spine turns to ice. The older you steps in front of you, a protective gesture. Something about it feels wrong, not because of his intention, but because of how slow he moves now, how unstable his shadow has become, lagging almost a full second behind him. His thread is unraveling. You glance at the steel door, no movement visible, but the air near it feels warmer, as though breath fogs the metal just on the other side. You force yourself to look away, scanning the room instead. The chair bolted to the floor. The desk, the wall of photos, the box files, the abandoned mug, the overhead lamp flickering with cold white light, and a seam in the concrete floor, thin, hairline, running beneath the desk and toward the far wall. A seam you didn't notice before, a seam that looks like a track, you murmur. The older you nods grimly. The room shifts, rearranges. It's not just a place, it's a mechanism. You feel suddenly smaller, like the entire basement is machinery wearing the mask of a room. Behind the steel door, the dog whines, a soft, pained sound. And that nearly breaks your restraint. We have to help him, you say, starting toward the door. The older you blocks you again, more forcefully this time. You don't understand, he snaps. The dog is part of this. He always has been. His words freeze you in place. What are you talking about? He gestures at the wall of photos. Look at every single version of us down here, every cycle, every iteration, every man on that wall. You scan the rows again, your face in dozens of ages, dozens of decades, profiling you, studying you, tracking you. They all came down here, he continues. But only some of us made it back up. Your pulse hammers. And the dog? He's the constant. The only fixed point in the loop. You stare at him. The dog is, what? Some kind of guide? No, he whispers. A guardian. Your breath catches. He steps closer, lowering his voice. He doesn't belong to the factory. He doesn't belong to the thread. He belongs to you, to the real version. He's followed every cycle, every copy, every echo, trying to protect us from becoming what's behind that door. Your stomach twists. So he's been trying to help me. He nods. Yes. He refused to leave the stairwell for a reason. He never crosses into these rooms. He only leads to them. And if you'd gone any closer to that door earlier, his expression hardens. He would have attacked you to stop you. The thought rattles something inside you. How do you know? The older you lifts his shirt, a deep scar cuts across his ribs, jagged, tooth-shaped. He tried to stop me once, he says, and I didn't listen. Your chest tightens. The dog saved him, or tried to. Too late. You step back, mind spinning. The older you speaks again, voice trembling, but clear. You're the last version because you're the only one the thread hasn't corrupted yet. Your blood chills. Then what am I supposed to do? He gestures at the hidden seam in the floor. You find the break point, the place where the thread first fractured. It's here, in this room, in the floor. That's why this room moves, why it resets itself, why it hides entrances and opens others. You kneel slowly, running your hand along the seam. It's warm, faintly vibrating, like a pulse beneath concrete. The hum deepens. Something is waking. The older you flinches. We triggered it. The moment you approached the seam, we woke the mechanism. What mechanism, you rasp? He points shakily at the track in the floor. This room isn't just a room. It's the needle in a sewing machine. You stare at him. What does it sew? He hesitates, then whispers. Us. Your breath leaves you in a cold rush. The hum surges, louder now, vibrating the desk, the photos, even the steel door. Something on the other side responds. A scraping, a dragging, and then your voice again. I'm ready now. Let me in. We can finish this together. Your chest caves inward. Your thoughts fracture. Because for a split second, a single flashing heartbeat, a part of you believes it, wants it, needs it, not to open the door, but to know, to have answers, to see the face behind your voice. But the dog growls, a low, vibrating warning that cuts through the fog in your mind like a blade. The older you grabs your jaw with both hands. Look at me, he says, voice cracking. You need to hear me now. This is the break point. Your pulse stutters. What do I do? He swallows. To stop the cycle, to sever the thread, you have to destroy the first version. Your stomach freefalls. Behind the door, you whisper. He nods. Yes. And if I don't? He looks at the wall of photos again. The countless iterations of your own face. You become the next one. Your throat closes. You whisper, how do I destroy it? He doesn't answer immediately, because the truth hurts, and he knows it. You see it in the way his hands shake. Finally, he says it. You destroy it by replacing it. Your breath collapses. No, I'm not. You asked how to break the cycle, he says, voice softening. This is the only way. The thread was broken once. It can only be healed by the one version strong enough to hold the weight of all the others. You shake your head. Why me? Why am I the last? He steps back, shadow lagging behind him like a dying echo. Because you're the one who never forgot the dog. Your heart stops. He nods. In every cycle, every echo, every version, only one of us always remembered the dog's face. He points at your chest. The thread didn't choose you. A pause. A breath. The dog did. The steel door shudders violently and then begins to slide open an inch. Just one. Enough for a sliver of darkness to spill into the room. Your voice whispers from the gap. Come find me. Finish what we started. The older you staggers back. This is it, he whispers. Your choice. Your pulse hammers in your ears like a war drum. Behind you, the first version waits. Broken, incomplete, hungry. In front of you, the seam in the floor pulses like a wound. Beside the door, your oldest companion, your protector, your witness, scratches weakly, desperately. You close your eyes, and the factory hums, threads tightening as all your versions begin to converge. The steel door groans, metal grinding against metal, slow and deliberate, like something on the other side is pulling it open with fingers that don't understand strength, only intention. You watch it widen an inch, then two, then three. The darkness behind it is thick, not empty, but crowded, as if the space there holds far more than just air. A cold draft slips through the opening, brushing your face with a shiver that feels like déjà vu scraping across your skin. The older you staggers back toward the wall of photos, one hand braced against it, breathing hard. His shadow lags 2 full seconds now, delayed like an echo that doesn't want to let go. He's unraveling. The dog whines again, but it's faint now, weak, like he's pressed against something heavy on the other side, fighting to stay conscious. Hold on, you whisper toward the door. You don't even know if he can hear you. The older you shakes his head violently. Don't get closer, he gasps. It can hear your voice. It can feel your thread. That's why it's opening now. Your fingers curl into fists. Then what do I do? Let it out. His expression twists. Fear, resignation, something like grief. No, he whispers. You go in. Your blood goes cold. What? He nods shakily toward the widening gap. That room, that void, is where the first version broke. It's where everything started fracturing. You can't fix a tear from the outside. You stare at the sliver of blackness, the faint shape moving behind it, twitching, jerking, like a kaleidoscope trying to form a human figure and failing. Get me through this, you murmur to the older you. Tell me exactly what I'm walking into. His throat works around a dry swallow. You're walking into yourself, he says quietly. The part of you that never healed. The one that stayed down here the first time. Your mind stutters. I was never here, you snap. He meets your eyes. Yes, you were. Before you were old enough to remember, before your father wrote the letters, before this factory shut down. The first fracture happened when you were a child. Your breath stops. That's not possible. He lifts a trembling hand and points to a photo. A small one, high in the grid, almost lost among the others. A picture of a boy standing behind the factory gate. 8 years old at most, wide-eyed, wearing a jacket 2 sizes too big. You step closer, your joints scream, your ribs ache, but you move anyway. The child in the photo looks just past the camera. Not at the photographer, but at something behind them. His expression isn't fear, it's confusion, recognition, a moment frozen in shock. Your stomach drops. That can't be! It is, the older you says, because the thread started with a child, with you. Your pulse hammers. You grasp the nearest shelf for balance. Why didn't I remember this? Because the factory takes memories the same way it takes versions, by pulling them out of order. It needed the thread intact. It needed you intact, so it buried what happened here deep enough you grew around the empty space. The seam in the floor pulses, once, twice, like a heartbeat sinking to yours. Your skin prickles. Behind the door, something shifts closer. A pale hand reaches into the gap, long fingers, wrong knuckles, skin stretched thin like old cloth. Your breath seizes. The older you pulls your shoulders sharply. You need to listen now, he whispers urgently. I don't have long before I unravel completely. You turn toward him. His outline flickers, like he's slipping between frames of a film out of sync with itself. You're running out of time, he gasps. It's linking to your thread. It's pulling. You need to sever it before you become the next one. How? He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small, folded object. A paper dog tag. Your breath stumbles. What is that? He presses it into your palm with shaking fingers. Your father made it for you, before the real one. Before you enlisted. He kept this one in the locker as a reminder to you and to himself that the boy who first walked into this building was still his son. You stare at the paper tag. It's soft with age, edges yellowed. but the ink is still there. Your name, your childhood name, not your rank, not your title, the name your father used when you lost your first tooth. The name he called you when you fell asleep on the couch. The name your son inherited. Your throat tightens. That name, the older you whispers, is the one the thread couldn't erase. The darkness behind the door pulses, a shape pushing forward. Your height, your build, but wrong, wrong, wrong. Your voice rasps from the gap again. Come, finish this. The dog's claws scrape desperately on the other side, weaker now, fading. You step forward, and the older you grabs your wrist one last time. You're the only one who can survive entering that room, he whispers, because you're the only version with a thread strong enough to carry the truth without breaking. Your pulse slams. And what happens to you? You ask. He smiles, a broken, tired smile. I fade. That's what echoes do when the original steps into the light. You swallow hard. This isn't fair. He laughs softly, painfully. Nothing about a broken thread is fair. The door shudders, then stops. A stillness descends. The shape behind the door stands perfectly still, waiting, listening, knowing. The dog whimpers, a soft sound fading. Your decision presses down like a collapsing roof. You look at the older you, at the flickering shadow, the unraveling edges, the exhaustion in his posture. Give me one reason, you whisper, why I should be the one to finish this. He looks at you, truly looks. You're the only version who still knows how to love something outside yourself. Your throat cracks. You mean the dog, he shakes his head. Just once. No, I mean everyone you've ever lost. Something inside you wrenches open, raw, painful, real. You turn toward the steel door. It waits. The gap is wide enough now for you to step through. Behind you, the factory hums, threads tightening, mechanisms awakening, the entire building holding its breath. You breathe once, steady, certain. You slip the paper dog tag into your pocket, your childhood name against your pulse, and you walk toward the darkness. The gap in the steel door widens as you approach, not by force, not by struggle, but by invitation, as if the thing behind it recognizes your footsteps, your breath, your thread. The darkness inside is different, thicker, heavier. Not an absence of light, but layers of it folded over each other like cloth. You stand inches from the doorway. Your pulse is a drum. Your ribs tremble with each breath. Behind you, the older version leans against the wall of photographs, flickering at the edges like a film burning through its final frame. He watches you with something between pride and sorrow. Whatever you see in there, he whispers, remember your name. Your hand drifts to your pocket. The paper dog tag, soft, thin, nearly weightless, rests against your palm. The name your father gave you. The name you stopped using long ago. You close your fingers around it and step inside the door. The room. Your boots land on concrete that feels wrong, softer, warmer, like skin under stone, like memory made solid. The air is thick with the scent of old paper and something faintly metallic, like a rusted swing set baking in the sun. The darkness isn't uniform. It moves, breathes. You hear something shift in the far corner, a drag, a shuffle, a soft muttering in a voice that's both yours and not. You swallow and whisper, "Come out!" The sound that answers is subtle, a whisper of fabric, the scrape of a heel, a breath that's been held too long. Then, a figure steps into the faint sliver of light behind you. Your heart lurches. It's you, but not like the older version outside. This one is younger, but wrong in every way that matters. His hair hangs in clumps, stuck to his forehead. His eyes are wide, twitching, never settling. His face is your face, but stretched thin, too thin, as if molded from memory, not flesh. His arms are crossed tightly over his chest, clutching something invisible. His hands open and close. Counting? No. Grasping for something that isn't there. His voice cracks like broken radio static. Late. Late. Late again. Late again. Should have come sooner. Should have left sooner. Should have never, never, never. He stops abruptly, head jerking toward you with a sharp twitch. He stares. You stare back. For a moment, one terrible, fragile moment, you see it, your own childhood terror reflected back at you, the moment you wandered too far, the moment you stepped into a place you didn't understand, the moment something inside you snapped and kept snapping for decades. You breathe out. What happened to you? His eyes tremble. They took the thread, pulled it, wound it wrong, said they could fix it. A strangled laugh. They didn't fix anything. He takes one staggering step forward, then another. You should be afraid. You should run. But you don't. Instead, you whisper, "You're the first version." He flinches violently, like the words are knives. No, 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 not first. Stuck in loop. Everyone else left, everyone else forgot, everyone else replaced. He slams a fist against his chest. Thread broke in me, so they took pieces, tried to stitch new ones. You take a slow breath. And all the versions after you? They were made to replace you? He stares at you with a trembling jaw. Not replace, repair! His voice collapses into a whisper. They needed one version strong enough to hold everything I dropped. Your throat tightens, and that's supposed to be me. He nods once, a small, fragile movement, a plea more than a confirmation. Behind you, the older version's voice fades in. Don't let him fool you. The thread chooses. The factory chooses. You don't owe it anything. But something in the younger version's eyes, wild, fractured, desperate, tells you the truth. He isn't hunting you. He's begging you to end this, begging you to finish what he couldn't. You step closer. Your boots echo softly. He recoils for a moment, then stills, head tilting as though hearing an old lullaby. You reach into your pocket and pull out the paper dog tag. His eyes widen. A sharp breath escapes him. Dad? He whispers, voice small, tiny, impossibly young. The floor tilts under you. He isn't speaking to you? Not exactly. He's speaking to the memory he's trapped inside. The last moment before he broke. A second preserved in amber for decades. You extend your hand slowly. The paper tag rests on your palm. This is yours, you whisper. You don't have to hold anything else, not anymore. He stares. His fingers twitch. His whole body trembles. Then, slowly, painfully, he reaches out. His fingertips brush the paper, and the room reacts instantly. The break! A cracking sound splits the air, like ice under weight, like fabric tearing. The darkness vibrates, flickers, screams without sound. The older version outside the door gasps, It's happening! The thread! You're breaking the thread! Your vision blurs. The younger version's outline smears, his body flickering between ages. Child, teen, adult, every version of you at once. He lets out a broken sob. Make it stop! You grip his hand. I will! The seam in the floor explodes with light. Brilliant, white, blinding. The room convulses. The walls ripple like fabric in wind. The entire factory hum rises to a howl. Your brother! Self! Your broken self! Your first self! Your first self! Collapses into your arms. Not heavy, not solid, but warm, human, real. You hold him tightly. It's done, you whisper against his hair. You're safe now. He shakes once, then exhales. And as he exhales, the room exhales with him. Aftermath. Everything stabilizes. The darkness dissolves. The humming stops. The walls return to still concrete. The steel door swings open fully. No longer resisting, no longer hungry. You stagger out with the limp weight of the first version in your arms, but he's not broken anymore. His eyes are closed, peaceful, free. The older version watches you with trembling hands. You did it, he whispers. You finally did it. You lay the younger you gently on the floor. His form flickers, then dissolves softly into drifting specks of light, like dust catching sunbeams before fading completely. The older you gasps. His knees buckle. His outline flickers one last time. Now I fade too, he murmurs, smiling through tears. You close the loop. You catch his shoulder. Wait, I don't even know your name. He shakes his head. You never needed it. He places a hand over your heart. You were always the real one. Then he exhales, slow, relieved, and his body unravels gently into nothing, light dissolving into air until he's gone. The dog! You turn toward the hall. The dog lies on the concrete, breathing fast, eyes half closed. You drop to your knees beside him. Hey, you whisper. Hey, boy, I'm here. He lifts his head weakly and presses his muzzle into your palm. Warm, alive, tired. No mimicry, no voices, no shadows. Just him. Your constant, your anchor, your witness through every version you never remembered. Tears slip down your face before you can stop them. You saved me, you murmur. Every single time. He licks your wrist softly as if to say, that's what we do. You slide your arms under him gently and lift him against your chest. His heartbeat is steady, slower now. Safe. You carry him up the stairs, through the basement, past the machines, past the lockers, past the place where the letter waited for you for decades. You step into the sunlight, real sunlight, warm, soft, bright enough to sting your eyes. The factory behind you sighs, a long final release before settling into silence. You walk down the cracked road, the dog resting quietly in your arms. The air tastes different, clean, new, and for the first time in your life, or any life you've lived, you remember everything clearly. Your childhood, your father's voice, your son's laugh, the first version's fear, the older version's sorrow, the threads that pulled you here. The dog that guided you home. You whisper your childhood name under your breath. It feels right, like a wound closing. The dog's ear twitches at the sound. You smile and keep walking.